first question for you, Anthony. From an administrator and former educator's perspective, what's most important for educators to keep in mind for this at this time?
Great question, Michelle. The overall message that we've tried to share is that you're not alone. This global pandemic has led to the closure of at least 124,000 public and private schools, has impacted at least 55 million students. It takes good planning and sufficient resources for schools and districts to pivot quickly. And while school districts and educators alike have heroically responded to the new reality of remote learning, the challenges that it presents are vast. The message that we've tried to share is that keep it simple and zero in on the priorities, making sure that the activities that you plan and coordinate are manageable for students and parents at home. They should promote enrichment of learning. The most important thing for educators to keep in mind is that they cannot completely replicate the full classroom experience. This is why we have teachers in schools. What they can do is stay connected and engaged with their students and families, and stay engaged with their colleagues and principals. You're not alone. This is bigger than all of us. So please take it day by day. One step at a time is something that we continually emphasize. At Questar 3 BOCES, connections and student relationships are at the top of our priority list always, but especially during this time. We're working to preserve and protect the relationships we have built during the first 3 quarters of the school year.
Thank you so much for that, Anthony. Second question, please offer some ways educators, in particular special education teachers, can continue to build connections with their students, particularly in a virtual classroom community.
For many of us in New York State, what began as a 2 to 3 week closure in March has now been extended through at least May 15th, perhaps even the rest of the school year. Within the classroom, for an educator to reach the place where students are actively learning and participating in the process, they need to establish connections and relationships with their students. These are all built upon trust. Teachers are no doubt striving to maintain and build upon the connections that they had with their students when they were in front of them while we're in this place of remote instruction. If there's a silver lining in all of this and the timing of this pandemic, it is the fact that we are well into March, 3 quarters through the school year. Our teachers have had more than half the year to build upon these relationships and establish trust with their students. Our teachers are using various forms of technology, Google Classroom, Meets, Zoom, as well as other digital platforms. They're checking in daily with their students, and they're following up with families. Visual check-ins are very important. We understand that not everyone has technology or the internet. Our students need to see us at this time, and we need to see them. We can pick up nonverbal cues that demonstrate whether or not they understand or simply whether they're doing okay. A smile can tell us a lot. Many of our teachers have worked with these students for the better part of a year, and they know them very well. They know when a look on their face indicates that they understand what the teacher is teaching. They also know what's going on from an emotional standpoint, based upon the visual cues that are being given to them. We know that there are students who struggle or may have unstable lives at home. They are the ones that will be most impacted by this, by our closures, by the transition to remote learning. Educators all across the state should be making a special effort to reach out and to connect to these students. After all, the ones who need us the most may be the ones least likely to reach out or the hardest to connect with. Teachers have always played an influential role, but they particularly now play a huge role in helping our students feel safe, even from a distance.
Final question, Anthony. What insight can you offer educators as they strive to navigate the abundance of resources that are available to supplement at home learning?
Yes, Michelle. Currently, there is such an abundance of resources, almost a tsunami of resources that have emerged by way of this response. Teachers are receiving ideas and sample resources from a variety of sources, and it can be overwhelming, almost paralyzing. While the aim of all this is to be helpful, There is a very real resource fatigue for families and educators alike. Uh, I think that when you have so many resources, it can be paralyzing and you don't know where to start. Our advice has been to keep it simple. Start with one or two ideas, and it could be you know something that is non-traditional. Sometimes the least technological idea is the one that resonates and works the best with students. Um, but I think something we kind of started this whole conversation with is helping teachers to recognize that they're not alone, that what they're experiencing, their counterparts, their colleagues are experiencing as well. As educators, we try to be very well planned, very well organized, and I think that in all of this, the situation is anything but that. It's perfectly imperfect. So our advice to teachers is that you're not alone. Connect with your colleagues to share resources and best practices. What's working for them, and use that information to help guide your practice. And I think that this is something that we are going to need to continue to take week by week, day by day, and if not hour by hour, and we're going to have to do it together.